Chosen one, your future was not supposed to end this way. But listen carefully. This is not a message of doom. This is a divine interruption. Archangel Michael saw the version of tomorrow that forms when a chosen person keeps ignoring the quiet corrections of God. And what brought tears was not your failure. It was your value. This did not reach you by accident. Something higher than fear, higher than confusion, and higher than the noise around you placed this in your path because there is still time to turn. God is crying, but not because he has given up on you. He is crying because love sees what you have been calling normal. Love sees the places draining your calling. Love sees the doors you keep reopening. Love sees the dreams you stopped speaking about because disappointment taught you to lower your voice. But the tears are not the ending. They are the warning before restoration. They are mercy before correction. They are heaven saying, do not hand your future to fear one more time. So pause, listen. Let this message show you what must change before the wrong road becomes your home. The first thing you need to understand is this. Heaven does not cry over what it cannot touch. Heaven does not grieve because it has no power. Heaven grieves when someone deeply loved begins to accept something far beneath what was prepared for them. The tears were not condemnation. The tears were compassion. God is not looking at you with disgust. He is not standing far away, shaking his head at how many times you struggled, how many times you delayed, how many times you returned to the same pain because at least that pain felt familiar. No, he sees the whole story. He sees the reasons behind your hesitation. He sees the exhaustion behind your silence. He sees the moments where you were not weak. You were simply tired from being strong for too long. And that is why this message matters. Because what Archangel Michael saw was not the end of your life. It was not a final sentence written in stone. It was a possible future. A future built slowly. A future built quietly. A future built through choices that looked small at the time, but were bending your path little by little. One ignored warning, one delayed act of obedience, one relationship you knew was draining you, but you kept explaining it away. One environment you knew had become too small for your spirit, but you stayed because leaving felt uncertain. One dream you stopped speaking about because disappointment made you afraid to hope out loud. That is how the wrong future begins. It does not always begin with rebellion. Sometimes it begins with tiredness. It does not always begin with a dramatic fall. Sometimes it begins with a quiet agreement. It does not always begin with you saying, I do not want God. Sometimes it begins with you saying, I cannot afford to believe anymore. And heaven saw that. Heaven saw the future that forms when a chosen person starts calling fear wisdom. Heaven saw the future that forms when a chosen person starts calling numbness peace. Heaven saw the future that forms when a chosen person starts calling survival destiny. And that is what made the moment so serious. Because you were not created to simply make it through life. You were not created to only survive the people who hurt you. You were not created to spend your years proving your worth to those who benefit from you forgetting it. There is something placed inside you that still has not fully emerged. There is a calling with your name on it. There is a version of you that heaven has already seen, but you have only met in flashes. You have felt that version before. You felt it in the moments when your spirit suddenly became clear and you knew you were meant for more. You felt it when a dream returned after months of silence. You felt it when a conversation, a number, a song, a sentence, or a sudden inner knowing made you feel like God was trying to get your attention. And then life got loud again. The bills came back. The disappointment came back. The old voices came back. The fear came back. The same people pulled you into the same cycles. And slowly, the version of you that once believed started lowering its eyes again. But heaven did not forget what you were shown. Archangel Michael did not weep because you are powerless. He wept because you are powerful, and you have been living like you are not. He did not weep because your destiny disappeared. He wept because your destiny was being covered by delay, fear, emotional fatigue, and the wrong agreements. And before you go any further, you need to stay with this message until the end, because what is coming is not just comfort. You are going to understand what Future Michael saw, why it made heaven grieve, which repeated choices are feeding that future, and how God redirects a chosen person before the wrong road becomes permanent. You will also hear the hidden reason your inner clarity has felt dimmed, and why that matters more than you think. This is not for fear. This is for correction, protection, and restoration. Now listen closely. The painful thing about the future Michael saw is that it did not look destroyed from the outside. That is why many chosen ones miss it. Sometimes the wrong future does not look like chaos. Sometimes it looks organized. It looks quiet. It looks stable. It looks like you are managing. It looks like everyone around you thinks you are fine. But inside, something is slowly going silent. Your prayers become shorter because you no longer know what to ask for. Your dreams become smaller because you are tired of being disappointed. Your standards become lower because loneliness has a way of making almost look acceptable. Your voice becomes softer, not because you have found peace, but because you have stopped believing anyone will understand the weight of what you carry. This is counterfeit peace. Counterfeit peace is when nothing is falling apart, but nothing is coming alive. Counterfeit peace is when you are not crying every night anymore, but you are not truly living either. Counterfeit peace is when you have learned how to function without joy, smile without expectation, and move through your days without asking whether your soul is still breathing. And God sees it. He sees the place where you stopped asking for more because more seemed dangerous. He sees the moment where disappointment trained you to lower the request. He sees the people who made you feel difficult for having standards, deep for wanting truth, too sensitive for sensing what was hidden, too much for needing a life that matched your spirit. But chosen one, being deeply aware, is not a flaw. Your sensitivity is not a mistake. Your discernment is not drama. Your hunger for purpose is not arrogance. Your inability to stay comfortable in shallow places is not weakness. It is evidence that something in you still remembers what heaven placed there. There is a life that looks safe, but slowly steals your assignment. There is a connection that looks familiar, but keeps draining your future. There is a delay that looks reasonable, but is actually fear wearing a calm voice. There is a silence that looks mature, but is actually the burial of your truth. And this is why heaven is interrupting you now. Not later, not when everything collapses, not when you are so far down the wrong road that turning feels impossible. Now, because mercy does not always feel soft when it first arrives. Sometimes mercy feels like a warning. Sometimes mercy feels like a sentence that shakes you awake. Sometimes mercy feels like the sudden realization that you have been cooperating with a future God never asked you to accept. And I hear this so clearly in my spirit. The Father is not saying, "You are finished." He is saying, "My child, I did not bring you this far for you to disappear inside a life that does not carry my breath." You know this is true because there are things you used to feel that you do not feel the same way anymore. You used to feel the pull of your purpose more clearly. You used to sense when something was wrong before it became obvious. You used to dream bigger, pray differently, expect more, believe more. Even when life was hard, there was a fire in you that told you, this cannot be all there is. But somewhere along the way, something started covering that fire. Maybe it was betrayal. Maybe it was waiting too long without seeing the promise. Maybe it was being misunderstood by the very people you thought would recognize your heart. Maybe it was financial pressure, emotional exhaustion, or the quiet pain of always being the strong one while no one asked what strength was costing you. And little by little, you began adapting. You adapted to being overlooked. You adapted to being underestimated. You adapted to giving without receiving. You adapted to people taking your presence for granted. You adapted to dreams being delayed. You adapted to rooms where your spirit had to shrink just to avoid making others uncomfortable. But adaptation is not always healing. Sometimes Adaptation is the soul learning how to survive in a place it was supposed to leave. That is what Michael saw. He saw a chosen one who had learned how to survive so well that survival started pretending to be destiny. He saw someone who had endured so much that they began to confuse endurance with assignment. He saw someone who had been patient for so long that they almost forgot patience was supposed to prepare them for movement, not trap them in the same place forever. And if that touches something inside you, do not run from it. Let it speak. Let your spirit tell the truth for a moment. Because this message is not here to accuse you, it is here to awaken the part of you that still knows. You still know when something is not aligned. You still know when a door is draining you. You still know when a conversation leaves your spirit heavy. You still know when a yes is actually fear. You still know when staying is no longer faith, but avoidance. You still know when waiting has become hiding. And God is not asking you to shame yourself for what you tolerated. He is asking you to stop calling it your future. That is the turning point. You are not your delay. You are not your exhaustion. You are not the version of yourself that learned how to accept less. You are not the silence people forced you into. You are not the small life fear tried to build around you. You are still the one heaven marked. You are still the one who sees patterns others ignore. You are still the one who can walk into a room and feel what is unspoken. You are still the one whose pain did not destroy compassion, but deepened it. You are still the one who can break cycles because you refused to become what wounded you. You are still the one who can build something that outlives the season that almost broke you. That is why the attack against your future has been subtle. It did not only come to make you sad. It came to make you forget. Forget your voice. Forget your discernment. Forget your assignment. Forget the version of you that prayed with fire. Forget the promises that once made your spirit tremble. Forget that God does not place depth inside a person for no reason. A chosen one who remembers is dangerous to darkness. A chosen one who remembers stops begging for seats at tables that were never assigned to them. A chosen one who remembers stops confusing rejection with redirection. A chosen one who remembers stops returning to the same door, hoping it will become holy just because it is familiar. A chosen one who remembers understands that God can love people and still call you away from their access. And this is where many people misunderstand the season you are in. They think you are becoming distant, but heaven may be teaching you discernment. They think you are becoming cold, but heaven may be teaching you boundaries. They think you are changing too much, but heaven may be removing the version of you that was built for survival, not purpose. They think you are losing yourself, but you may finally be returning to the self God knew before fear touched your story. This is why the future can still change. Because the future Michael saw was not the future written by God. It was the future formed by fear. It was the future shaped by repeated compromise. It was the future built from all the moments where you almost obeyed, almost left, almost spoke, almost believed, almost moved, almost trusted, almost became. And heaven is saying, no more, almost. Not because you must rush, not because you must panic, not because you must force doors open with your own strength, but because there is a holy difference between waiting with God and waiting because you are afraid to move. Joseph waited, but he did not surrender his identity in the pit. David waited, but he did not let the wilderness convince him he was not anointed. Esther waited until the appointed moment, but when the moment came, she could not hide behind comfort and call it wisdom. And you cannot either. There is a moment where the chosen one must stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if this fear is the thing trying to make me fail before I even begin?" There is a moment where the chosen one must stop asking, "What if they misunderstand me?" and start asking, "Why have I made their understanding the gatekeeper of my obedience?" There is a moment where the chosen one must stop asking, "What if I lose what is familiar?" and start asking, "What if familiar is the chain heaven has been trying to break?" This is not a call to reckless decisions. This is not a call to abandon wisdom. This is not a call to act from emotion. This is a call to tell the truth inside your own spirit. And there is one truth you may need to speak today, even if you only speak it quietly within yourself. I will not call fear my future. Let that sentence move through you. I will not call fear my future. If this message is speaking directly to you, you can write that sentence in the comments as a witness over your own life. Not for performance, not for attention, but as a line in the spirit. I will not call fear my future, because something begins to shift when you stop agreeing with the wrong ending. The road does not change all at once, but your agreement changes. Your inner posture changes. Your discernment sharpens. Your spirit begins to separate what is familiar from what is assigned. You begin noticing the difference between peace and numbness, between patience and avoidance, between surrender and resignation. And once you notice the difference, you cannot unknow it. That is why this message found you now. There is something ahead of you that requires a clearer version of you. Not a perfect version, not a version that has everything figured out. A clearer version. A version that can hear correction without collapsing. A version that can release people without hatred. A version that can move without needing every person to understand. A version that can trust God even when the next step is visible but the whole staircase is not. And here is the part that matters more than you realize. Many chosen ones do not lose their future because they are evil. They lose years because their inner clarity becomes dim. Their spiritual signal becomes covered by noise. Their mind becomes trained by stress. Their body becomes used to survival. Their emotions become crowded with old disappointments. And when clarity is dim, even a divine instruction can feel confusing. That is why you have been asking, why do I know I am meant for more, but still feel stuck? Why do I sense a calling, but keep delaying the step? Why do I feel something is wrong, but keep going back? Why do I pray for direction, but when direction comes, I question it until the moment passes? There is a reason, and in the next part of this message, we are going to go deeper into that reason. Because there is a hidden switch of clarity that many chosen ones once carried naturally. You may remember it from when you were younger. You learned quickly, you sensed deeply, you created freely, you believed more easily, you noticed things others missed. There was a brightness in your mind and spirit that made life feel open, alive, almost guided. But the world has a way of dimming what God placed inside you. Constant pressure dims it. Repeated disappointment dims it. Noise dims it. Fear dims it. Wrong environments dim it. And when that inner brightness is covered, the future becomes harder to choose, even when heaven is showing you the way. This is the part Michael saw. He saw what happens when a chosen person with a divine assignment keeps walking with a dimmed inner light. He saw the decisions that become harder. He saw the doors that get missed. He saw the relationships that become confusing. He saw the purpose that keeps getting postponed. He saw the beautiful future that does not disappear, but waits behind a fog the chosen one was never meant to live under. And that is why God is interrupting the pattern. Not to shame you, not to frighten you, not to tell you your story is over, but to say, come back to the light inside you. Come back to the voice you stopped trusting. Come back to the path that still knows your name. Because the wrong future is not stronger than God. The wrong road is not stronger than grace. The ending fear created is not stronger than the future heaven wrote. But you must stop agreeing with what is dimming you. You must stop feeding what is draining you. You must stop treating every delay like a denial. You must stop letting old pain interpret new instructions. Chosen one. This is where the first part of the warning becomes clear. The tears were not the end. They were the beginning of your rescue. Archangel Michael saw the road fear was building, but heaven stepped in before you called that road home. And what comes next is the turning point. Because now, you need to know how to redirect the future. You need to know where to draw the line. You need to know how to audit the choices that are quietly shaping your tomorrow. You need to know how surrender becomes movement, not weakness. And you need to understand why restoring your inner clarity may be one of the most important parts of protecting the future God still has for you. So do not let your spirit drift away from this moment. The message is not finished. The warning has been spoken, but the restoration has not yet been revealed. And the future Michael saw is not the future you have to live. That is the first mercy of this message. You need to hear that again in your spirit. The future Michael saw is not the future you have to live. It was not shown to destroy your hope. It was shown to awaken your choice. It was not revealed because God had already decided against you. It was revealed because God is still reaching for you before fear writes a chapter that heaven never authored. A warning is not the same as a sentence. A warning means there is still time. A warning means the door of mercy is still open. A warning means heaven is not silent about the direction of your life. And this is where the whole message begins to turn. Because if the wrong future was built through repeated agreements, then the restored future begins when those agreements are broken. If fear has been shaping your tomorrow, then faith must begin shaping it again. If exhaustion has been making decisions for you, then your spirit must return to the place of clarity where God's voice is not buried beneath panic, pressure, and old pain. Chosen one, you are not here to be frightened. You are here to be redirected. There is a sacred difference. Fear makes you run without wisdom. Redirection makes you walk with God. Fear tells you everything is over. Redirection tells you something can still be restored. Fear shows you the worst possible ending and says, accept it. Redirection shows you the wrong path and says, turn. So now the question is no longer, what did Michael see? Now the question is, what will you do with what heaven has shown you? Because the tears were the first sign, the warning was the second sign, but your response is the turning point. And the first place your response begins is not outside of you. It begins in the hidden place where you decide what you will no longer negotiate with. There is a line you must draw inside your spirit, not a line of hatred, not a line of pride, not a line that says you are better than anyone else. A line that says, I can love people and still stop giving access to what God is healing in me. This is the line Archangel Michael is calling you to see. The Michael line. It is the place where you stop negotiating with what God has already revealed as harmful. It is the place where you stop pretending confusion is discernment. It is the place where you stop reopening a door just because your emotions miss what your spirit survived. It is the place where you stop calling a draining connection a test of patience, when deep inside you know it has become a theft of purpose. Chosen one, the Michael line is not bitterness, it is obedience. It is the moment you say within yourself, I will not keep walking toward the future heaven warned me about. You do not have to announce it to everyone. You do not have to explain it to people who benefit from your confusion. You do not have to make a dramatic speech. Some of the most powerful separations happen quietly inside a person before anyone else notices. You can be lying in bed and draw that line in your spirit. You can be driving down the road and draw that line in your spirit. You can be surrounded by noise and still let heaven hear the decision forming inside you. Just say within your heart, God, show me what I keep negotiating with that you already told me to release. And when the answer rises, do not fight it. Maybe it is a person, maybe it is a habit, maybe it is a fear, maybe it is an old identity. Maybe it is the need to be understood by someone who keeps misunderstanding you on purpose. Maybe it is the comfort of staying small because rising would require you to be seen. The line is not drawn when you feel strong. The line is drawn when you finally become honest. And honesty is one of the first ways the wrong future loses power. Because the wrong future survives in fog. It survives in excuses. It survives in delayed obedience. It survives every time you say, maybe it is not that bad, while your spirit is already exhausted from carrying what God never told you to keep. You know what drains you. You know what pulls you backward. You know what makes your inner light feel smaller. You know what leaves you feeling less like yourself after every encounter. And you know what God has been whispering, even when you tried to call that whisper your imagination. The Michael line does not ask you to hate what you leave. It asks you to stop worshipping what is familiar, because familiar is not always assigned. Long is not always loyal. Heavy is not always holy. And just because something has been in your life for a long time does not mean it has the right to walk into your future. That is the first correction. But a line alone is not enough, because after you draw the line, you must ask a deeper question. Not just, what do I need to release, but what future am I feeding when I repeat this choice? This is where you must practice what I call the future audit. Not with paper, not with pressure, not as a ritual that requires you to stop your life. This is an inward examination, a spiritual mirror, a quiet question you can carry inside you. Ask yourself, if I repeat this choice for 1 year, who will I become? Do not rush past that. If I keep answering the same call, returning to the same cycle, delaying the same instruction, entertaining the same fear, doubting the same promise, choosing the same comfort, who will I become 1 year from now? Will I become clearer or more confused? Will I become softer in the right way or smaller in the wrong way? Will I become more aligned with God or more skilled at surviving without joy? Will I become the person heaven saw in me or the person fear trained me to be? That question is a doorway, because every repeated choice is a vote. Every yes is a vote. Every no is a vote. Every return is a vote. Every delay is a vote. Every silence is a vote. Every act of obedience is a vote. And the future does not only come from one dramatic decision. Many times, the future is built from the small votes you cast every day when no one is watching. This is why Michael wept. He did not only see one moment, he saw the direction. He saw the person you become if you keep choosing from fear. He saw the version of you that looks functional but feels empty. He saw the calling still alive inside you but buried under a life that kept demanding you abandon yourself to keep everything else calm. And heaven said, no, not this one, not my chosen one, not the one I carried through the wilderness, not the one I kept through the betrayal, not the one I strengthened in secret, not the one whose tears watered seeds they have not even seen yet. You must understand something. God does not interrupt a path because he enjoys disruption. He interrupts because he sees the destination. You see the comfort of staying. God sees what staying will cost you. You see the fear of leaving. God sees the freedom on the other side of obedience. You see the smallness of the next step. God sees the future attached to it. So ask the second question of the future audit. Does this decision expand my calling or shrink my obedience? Because some choices do not look sinful. They just shrink you. They shrink your boldness. They shrink your prayer life. They shrink your expectation. They shrink your ability to hear. They shrink your willingness to move. They shrink your courage until you start calling a small life peace. And this is where a chosen one must become deeply honest. A decision can be comfortable and still be wrong for your assignment. A relationship can be familiar and still be dangerous for your future. A room can accept you and still not have the capacity to hold what God is building in you. A path can look reasonable and still be too small for the oil on your life. The third question is the one that reveals the root. Am I choosing this from peace, fear, guilt, or exhaustion? Because fear can imitate wisdom. Guilt can imitate love. Exhaustion can imitate surrender. And peace can be confused with numbness if you have lived in survival too long. That is why you must stop asking only, does this feel easy? Ask, does this feel alive? Does this decision carry the breath of God, or only the relief of avoiding discomfort? Does this choice bring me closer to truth, or only farther from confrontation? Does this step require faith, or does it simply protect the version of me that is afraid to be seen? Chosen one, This is not about making perfect decisions. It is about no longer letting fear make holy decisions for you. And after the Michael line and the future audit, there is one more gate. This gate is the hardest because it touches control. It is the surrender gate. The surrender gate is the moment you stop trying to control the entire outcome and begin obeying the next right instruction. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is not becoming passive. Surrender is not pretending you do not care. Surrender is when you stop trying to force the full picture to appear before you obey the first step. Many chosen ones are stuck here, not because they do not love God, not because they do not want purpose, not because they lack depth. They are stuck because they want certainty before movement. They want every person to understand before they change. They want the whole map before they take the road. They want confirmation that obedience will not cost them anything. But obedience always costs the version of you that needed control to feel safe. Esther had to walk toward a moment she could not fully control. Joseph had to trust a story that looked broken for years before it looked blessed. David had to carry an anointing in private while living through a wilderness that looked nothing like a throne. And you, chosen one, may have to move before everyone claps. You may have to release before you know what replaces it. You may have to obey before your emotions feel brave. You may have to trust that God can guide the next step without showing you the entire staircase. This is where surrender becomes movement. Not movement from panic. Movement from trust. Not movement from pressure. Movement from alignment. Not movement to prove anything. Movement because your spirit knows the cost of staying the same has become too high. Now here is where the warning becomes even deeper. You can know all of this and still struggle to move if your inner clarity has been dimmed. That is what we began touching at the end of the first part. The hidden brightness, the inner sharpness, the God-given ability to sense, decide, create, recognize, and respond. Many chosen ones know what to do, but they feel foggy when it is time to do it. They sense a direction, but then second-guess it until the moment passes. They receive a correction, but then old fear gets loud and buries it. They feel a door opening, but their mind starts spinning through every possible way it could go wrong. And after a while, they start blaming themselves. They say, maybe I am lazy. Maybe I am not disciplined enough. Maybe I am not spiritual enough. Maybe I am not really chosen. But what if part of the struggle is not a lack of destiny, but a dimmed signal? What if your spirit has been trying to speak through a mind trained by stress? What if your calling is not absent, but your clarity has been crowded? What if heaven has been sending instructions, but noise, pressure, disappointment, and survival have been covering the place inside you that used to hear more clearly? This is why the future Michael saw was so painful. He saw a chosen one with a real assignment, walking with a dimmed inner light. He saw the wrong decisions that become easier when clarity is low. He saw the right doors that get missed because the mind is too tired to recognize them. He saw the divine nudges that get postponed because the nervous system keeps calling every new step unsafe. And God did not weep because you lacked purpose. He wept because purpose was still there, but the signal had been covered. You may remember a time when life felt different. Maybe when you were younger, your mind was quicker. Your imagination was brighter. Your intuition felt cleaner. You could learn fast. You could sense shifts in people. You could feel when something was about to happen. You had moments of creativity that felt almost like they came from somewhere beyond you. Then the world became heavy. Responsibilities multiplied. Disappointments stacked up. People pulled on your energy. Fear became a daily language. Stress became normal. And little by little, the clarity that once felt natural began to feel rare. This is where science and spirit meet in a very real way. There is a state of the brain often connected with heightened focus, sharp perception, deep insight, creativity, and what many people call flow. It is often associated with gamma brainwave activity. Some describe it as the brain operating with unusual brightness, coordination, and alertness. Spiritually, it feels like the mind and the inner knowing are no longer fighting each other. And for a chosen one, that matters. Because when your inner signal is clear, you stop confusing fear with wisdom. You stop mistaking guilt for love. You stop treating exhaustion like a command. You begin to recognize what carries peace and what only carries familiarity. You begin to sense what is aligned and what is just available. This does not replace prayer. It does not replace obedience. It does not replace healing, discipline, wise counsel, or walking with God. But it can support the part of you that needs clarity again. And this is why I want to mention something carefully, without pressure and without hype. There is a 7-minute audio ritual called the Genius Song. It is designed around brain entrainment with the intention of helping the brain access a gamma state. You listen with headphones for 7 minutes a day. No complicated routine, no long meditation, no forcing yourself into some perfect spiritual mood. Just a simple audio track created to support the state of focus, clarity, and inner sharpness that many chosen ones feel they lost somewhere along the way. I do not want you to treat this like magic. And I do not want you to treat it like one audio replaces your relationship with God. That would not be honest. Think of it more like a tool, a small key, a support for the part of you that has been trying to hear clearly through too much noise. The information behind it describes gamma as a God-given capacity that many people carry more strongly in childhood, before stress, systems, fear, and modern pressure begin to dull it. And if you are a chosen one, that may explain why you have felt the loss so deeply. You are not just missing focus, you may be missing access to a brightness that once felt natural to you. I heard a story of a woman who had tried meditation, yoga, and spiritual retreats, yet still felt like real connection was always just out of reach. She did not come to this because she was easily convinced. She came to it because she was tired of feeling spiritually muted. After using the 7-minute audio consistently, what she described was not some loud, dramatic miracle. She described synchronicities. She said it felt like life began speaking again in a language she could understand. That is the kind of shift many chosen ones are really looking for. Not noise, not hype, clarity. The ability to recognize the next step. The ability to feel present again. The ability to stop living beneath the fog. And I know some of you are already thinking, I have tried many things before. I understand that. Many chosen ones have tried meditation, affirmations, healing music, and every kind of spiritual method, only to feel like nothing truly reached the place where the fog began. The difference here is that brain entrainment is not asking you to force your mind into a state through effort. It is designed to guide the brain through sound. Again, this is not a promise that one track will solve your entire life. But for those who feel deeply called to restore clarity, it may be worth exploring. Traditional biofeedback and brainwave tools can cost hundreds per session or thousands for equipment. The original price of the Genius Song is $49, but it has been made available for $39 for viewers who feel led to explore it. It is digital, so it is delivered by email, and it also includes 4 bonuses, including a child-focused audio, a classic book connected to financial wisdom, a guided visualization, and an infographic with key habits for creating a better future. It also comes with a money-back guarantee, so if you explore it and do not feel it is for you, the risk is removed. There is one important warning. There are fake versions and ordinary audio tracks online using similar names. Some of them do not contain the actual brain entrainment technology. The safest way to make sure you are looking at the original version with the bonuses and guarantee is through the link placed in the description and the pinned comment of this video. Do not search randomly and trust whatever appears first. If your spirit feels no pull toward it, release it. But if something in you feels drawn to the idea of a 7-minute clarity ritual, then investigate it prayerfully. Not from pressure, not from fear, only from alignment. Because the deeper message remains this: God is the source. The tool is not the savior. The audio is not your destiny. But clarity matters when your future is being redirected. And now we return to the deepest revelation of this entire message. The ending Michael saw was not written by God. It was the ending created by fear. It was the ending formed by staying too long in places where your spirit was shrinking. It was the ending shaped by choices made from exhaustion instead of faith. It was the ending that appears when a chosen person keeps postponing the very instruction that was meant to open the next season. But heaven did not show that ending because it had to happen. Heaven showed it because it can still be interrupted. And I feel this so strongly. The Father is saying, the ending you feared is not the ending I wrote. Let that settle over you. The ending you feared is not the ending God wrote. The ending where you lose yourself is not the ending God wrote. The ending where your calling dies quietly under survival is not the ending God wrote. The ending where you become bitter, closed, numb, and unreachable is not the ending God wrote. The ending where you settle for being tolerated when you were created to be aligned is not the ending God wrote. The ending where you keep carrying everyone else while abandoning the assignment on your own life is not the ending God wrote. God's future for you carries hope, not fantasy, not comfort without growth, not blessing without formation. Hope, a future where what broke you becomes wisdom, a future where what delayed you becomes preparation, a future where what rejected you becomes redirection, a future where what you thought was wasted becomes material in the hands of God. This is why the wrong road must be interrupted, because heaven is not only saving you from pain, heaven is saving your purpose from being buried under a life that looks acceptable but does not carry the weight of your calling. You are not just being rescued from something, you are being restored to something. Restored to clarity, restored to courage, restored to discernment, restored to the voice you stopped trusting, restored to the future that still has your name on it. And right now, without moving your body, without needing to close your eyes, without needing to do anything outward, I want you to imagine something within your spirit. Imagine two roads in front of you. One road feels familiar. You know its patterns, you know its people, you know its excuses, you know the way it makes you feel small, but because you have walked it for so long, it almost feels safe. That is the road fear built. Now imagine another road. It is not as familiar. You cannot see every detail. You do not know every person who will walk with you. You do not know exactly how God will provide, how the doors will open, or how the timing will unfold. But there is breath on that road. There is peace there, not the numb peace of avoidance, but the living peace of alignment. There is a quiet strength there. There is a future there that does not require you to betray your spirit to keep it. Now, inside yourself, without moving a muscle, step away from the road fear built. Let your spirit take that step, not your feet. Your agreement. Withdraw your agreement from the wrong ending. Withdraw your agreement from the old identity. Withdraw your agreement from the belief that it is too late. Withdraw your agreement from the voice that says you missed your chance. Withdraw your agreement from the future Michael saw in tears. And let your spirit say, I return to the future, God wrote. That is the inner action. I return to the future, God wrote. If you need a sentence to hold on to after this message ends, hold on to that. I return to the future, God wrote. Because this is the moment where restoration becomes personal. Not just a message you heard, not just a feeling that passed through you, a decision inside your spirit. I will not keep walking toward the wrong ending. I will not call fear wisdom. I will not call numbness peace. I will not call delay my identity. I will not call survival my destiny. I return to the future, God wrote. And now, I want to pray over you in the same spirit of this message. Father, I ask you to touch the one listening right now, not with fear, but with clarity, not with shame, but with mercy, not with pressure, but with holy direction. Where they have been walking toward a future you never wrote, interrupt the path. Where they have been calling fear wisdom, give them discernment. Where they have been calling numbness peace, breathe life into them again. Where they have been staying because leaving feels uncertain, teach them the difference between patience and avoidance. Where they have been carrying relationships, rooms, habits, and identities that keep dimming their spirit, give them courage to draw the line without hatred. Let the Michael line become clear in them. Show them what they must stop negotiating with. Show them what has been draining the oil from their life. Show them what has been asking for access to a future it cannot help carry. And give them the strength to obey without needing every person to understand. Father, guide them through the future audit. Let them see what each repeated choice is building. Let them recognize what expands their calling and what shrinks their obedience. Let them feel the difference between peace, fear, guilt, and exhaustion. Do not let them be deceived by comfort when you are calling them into alignment. Do not let them mistake familiar chains for safe shelter. Do not let them stay loyal to a version of themselves you are trying to heal. And Father, lead them through the surrender gate. Teach them to release control without releasing faith. Teach them to move without seeing the whole map. Teach them to trust the next instruction. Teach them to obey without panic. Teach them to wait when waiting is holy and move when movement is required. Restore their inner clarity. Restore the brightness that pressure tried to bury. Restore the discernment that disappointment tried to silence. Restore the courage that betrayal tried to break. Restore the imagination that survival tried to kill. Restore the voice they stopped using. Restore the prayer they stopped praying. Restore the hope they were afraid to hold. Let every wrong agreement begin to break. Let every counterfeit peace be exposed. Let every draining connection lose its power. Let every false identity fall away. Let every fear-built future collapse before it becomes home. And let the future you wrote rise again before them, not as fantasy, not as empty comfort, but as a path of obedience, healing, purpose, and holy restoration. Chosen one, I speak this over your life with care. You are not finished. You are not too late. You are not beyond redirection. The road fear built is not stronger than the hand of God. The ending you feared is not stronger than the future heaven wrote. Archangel Michael saw what could happen if you kept walking half awake. But now you are awake. You have seen the pattern. You have heard the warning. You have felt the correction. And now you can choose differently. You can draw the line. You can audit the future. You can surrender the need to control everything. You can restore the clarity that helps you recognize the next step. You can stop handing your tomorrow to the fear that wounded your yesterday. And you can return fully and honestly to the future God wrote. If the 7-minute clarity ritual spoke to something deep inside you, you can find the link in the description and the pinned comment. Explore it only if you feel led. Let it be a support, not a substitute. Let it serve clarity, not pressure. But above all, remember this: God is not crying because your story is over. God is crying because your story matters. Heaven did not interrupt you to condemn you. Heaven interrupted you to recover you. The tears were not the end. They were the rescue. The warning was not the final word. Restoration is. And the future Michael saw in tears is not the future you have to live. From this moment forward, may your spirit reject the wrong ending. May your mind become clear. May your discernment sharpen. May your courage return. May your obedience become steady. May your peace become alive again. And may every step you take from here lead you away from fear and back into the future God wrote.